Our top focus at this hour, signaling subdued chances of former President Donald Trump's conviction. A growing number of Republican senators are now opposing holding an impeachment trial. Republicans have pushed back with political and constitutional arguments. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is set to send senators articles of Donald Trump's impeachment passed in the House of Representatives. The article blames former U.S. President Donald Trump for inciting the chaotic Capitol invasion of January the 6th, which left 5 people dead. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that Trump's second impeachment trial in the Senate will be fair, but it will move at a relatively fast pace. Schumer is hopeful of Republicans cooperating with the Democrats, but he still said that there are other means that can be used, including reconciliation, which is a procedural tool.
3 weeks, we will be doing 3 things, all of which are very much needed in the Senate. There are the 3 essential items on our plate: the trial of President Trump, now that the House has impeached him, bold, strong COVID relief, and approving the President's cabinet, desperately needed at a time like this. The Senate must and will do all 3 and the Senate must advance all 3 in the next few weeks, and we will. And we will. The stakes are too high to delay any of them.
Democrats control 50 seats in the 100-seat chamber, but doubts are raised on Democrats now securing 17 Republican votes to reach the 2/3 majority needed to convict Trump. Republicans argued that the Senate has no authority to put a private citizen on trial, which Trump now is. Senator Mike Rounds told news channels that the Constitution does not allow for the impeachment of a former president. But a frequent Trump critic, Senator Mitt Romney, has reportedly said that the preponderance of legal opinion is that an impeachment trial after a president has left office is constitutional. Romney, who is the only member of his party to vote to convict Trump in his first impeachment trial, said that the incitement to insurrection is an impeachable offense. The U.S. Senate leaders have meanwhile agreed to push back Trump's impeachment trial by 2 weeks. And through this, the chamber has earned more time to focus on Democratic President Joe Biden's legislative agenda and cabinet nominees before turning to the showdown over Trump. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives impeached Trump earlier this month for inciting the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. The Senate trial on the charge will now begin on the week of February the 8th. Now, for more on this story, we have our correspondent Jagrati Dave joining us live from Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us, Jagrati. Now, Republicans in the chamber are pushing back with political and constitutional arguments against Trump's impeachment. So tell us more about this and the way forward.
Yes, I think there's a growing movement among Republicans that they are resistant to the idea of having convicting Donald Trump in a Senate trial. Remember, there were already those who had been supportive of Donald Trump, even though they had been critical of him, who think that, especially after the riot on January the 6th, who said that argue that it would be more divisive to an already divided America to have a Senate trial and to convict Donald Trump. Marco Rubio, a senator, Republican senator, is one of those. Others argue that it is not constitutional to hold a trial. Senator Mitt Romney, as you said, is one of those who argues that it would be constitutional and that there might be a case. Remember, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader now, has not said, indicated either way how he would vote, but he has, in reports seemed to be positive about the prospect of this process, this impeachment process going ahead, because according to reports, he thought that this would be the best way to purge the party of their former leader, their former president, Donald Trump. However, it seems that there's also another consideration, that is, according to reports, that Donald Trump is considering starting another political party, potentially called the Patriot Party, or the MAGA Party. The Washington Post reporting that the president could potentially hold this as leverage over Republicans, the threat of a new party over Republicans who might be considering whether to convict him in a trial. The idea being that he would, through this new party, take his many millions of supporters with him away from the Republicans.
Right. Now, does this trend also signal the kind of strong support that the former president still enjoys and the roadblocks ahead for Democrats in passing crucial policies?
So I think there is very much a case to be made that Donald Trump still holds a lot of support, at least in terms of his base. Remember, more than 70 million people voted for Donald Trump in the election. And as we saw in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th, he has many ardent, fervent supporters. And that is really the question that the Republican Party is asking itself, as to how much of an influence does Donald Trump retain over the party, given the large number of voters and the huge support that he has commanded. In terms of for Democrats getting their agenda through, obviously there is the Senate is split, with Kamala Harris, the Vice President, casting that deciding vote. So clearly there is an understanding that Joe Biden, in order to get legislation through, is going to require bipartisan consensus, and that is why there are talks underway with White House aides and with a dozen or so centrist lawmakers from both parties to try and find that consensus. It will be interesting to see whether that consensus is achieved, or whether the talk of an impeachment trial becomes too divisive or not.
Right. Actually, just elaborating a little on the point that you made previously, Donald Trump seems to have thrown himself straight back into politics and is now supporting very divisive MAGA supporters, as you just said. So tell us more about the same.
So, as I say, this is just reports as to the president starting the talks of starting a new party. We know that President Trump is in Mar-a-Lago in Florida, his resort there, and he has talked before he left of returning in some form. It's unclear what that form is, but as I say, according to reports, there is some talk emerging of a possible third party. It's unclear how serious the president is about, the former president Donald Trump is about the formation of such a party, but this is clearly something that lawmakers, observers, commentators are all going to be watching out for, to see what exactly the former president does next.
Right, Jagriti, my final question. President Biden is set to reinstate the COVID-19 travel restrictions on non-US citizens who have traveled to Brazil, Ireland and the UK and much of Europe, really. So tell us more about how this is being perceived across the US.
Yes, so this was something that, if you recall, about a week ago, the former president Donald Trump had said that he was going to scrap those travel restrictions on visitors coming into the US from the UK, most of Europe and Brazil. Pretty much immediately, those restrictions were due to be brought down as of January the 26th. But if you recall, pretty much immediately, the then incoming White House press secretary Jen Psaki said via Twitter that was not going to happen, that the Biden administration would not be rescinding those travel restrictions, that this was not the time to encourage international travel, given the number of cases, coronavirus cases, and the surges that we're seeing, not just in the United States, but in those areas in Europe, in the UK and Brazil. And of course, we've got these new variants to be contending with as well. The UK variant, which is has been detected in at least 20 states. Now, South Africa is one of the countries that the Biden administration has added to that list of restricted travels because of the South African variant. It's not yet been, so far it seems that it hasn't been detected in the United States. But Anthony Fauci said that it may already be in the US, we just don't know about it. But as I say, not officially detected, but South Africa being added to that list, just showing that Joe Biden and his administration want to take seriously the coronavirus pandemic, and that has clearly been front and centre of many of the announcements that they have made since Joe Biden has taken office.
Right, Jagdi, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for all your inputs and thank you for joining us. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.